This is more of a debug session. But it's okay. Good learning. Next thing is here we need to create Java resources also there. Create a new folder. Okay. In here, say mine. We need a package, right? I'll take this guy as a package. Okay, just need a package. When you go for a class, you can say welcome controller. Okay. It's renaming and trying to see what. And in our welcome controller, I'll just go with the same structure whatever we have. And info controller, hello controller, whatever we have. What I will do, I'll copy these guys. It saves some time. And then it's not. Did we not save this file? We saved, right? Does we need to add any plugin here so that we can provide a Java 1.7? That would be the right choice. What is the problem with this guy? Oh, okay. We don't have tag dependencies here. And then let me write here a plugin. What you call it? Compiler plugin. I'll just pull it from Marvin compiler plugin, right? Marvin compiler plugin. Format XML. Just need this plugin. Inside plugins we need. This is just to convey what kind of Java version you want. So that saves, you can always configure at a project level what kind of Java version you want, and you don't need by default let it take the latest one. You just need to provide the artifact ID, and once you provide artifact ID, configuration, plugin, artifact ID, configuration, target source. Yeah, good. What happened here? This guy doesn't like still. Forgot to add build automatically. So if I don't add it, you need to convey every time manually. So that's the reason it doesn't download it, I believe so. So yep, this time they are all available. And then perfect. I'll save. Welcome. Okay. Very good. Anything we changed? Nothing. We just called slash, and if something comes with slash, you go to controller. Request mapping is mapping, and the request mapping comes with slash. If it comes here, it's a get method, and its model map will be there, and you add the attributes to that. Welcome.jsp you need to write. Okay. Our next thing is go back to your what you call web app, web by NF, right? So web by NF. Inside web.xml you have. Go here. Is it because of the web.xml is a little weird? Oh, maybe I need to think of it. DTD. I think we haven't added. That could be the one of the reasons, I guess. That could be one of the reasons. Maybe I copied from here, but this guy is not Spring based. This is just this guy doesn't require. What we need here is J2E Web App 2.4. Let me search in my Kaizen cooker. I'll explain once we resolve, but keep on. I mean, all I'm trying is different options that we can try out. So web-app web-app. Yeah, this is the piece we need to copy. I copied from servlet.xml, which is servlet related doc type, but we need what? We need Spring supportive web app related configuration schema location. I hope this could address our problem. I'm just thinking. I'm not confident, but yeah, that is one of the reasons. And which XML we are doing it here? Damn it, not this one. Here in this XML, we need to add what? Instead of this piece, I'm just adding that piece. Okay, and What I'm going to do, I'll take the same piece, whatever we have for here. We'll keep it here. So we have a servlet name as is, and MVC dispatcher servlet. This line newly added. I was while trying right before start of the class. I was trying. Load on startup is something you need to configure if you want to convey your Tomcat, because Tomcat understand only web.xml, right? Whatever you wrote here will be responsible of Tomcat to resolve. Okay, so if you write like this, you are conveying which servlet should load first and what are the priorities, kind of thing. You know, you're defining some priorities. Okay, so here you're saying while starting up, consider this one to bringing up. Okay, so and last time I forgot to tell you, you need to I told you but little, not completely. So you take this MVC dispatch, right, and then what are you going to create in the same location? What are you going to XML file, right? So while creating that XML file, two things you need to copy paste whatever you servlet name hyphen, this is fixed. Okay, this is always fixed, hyphen servlet, that is what you need to mention all the time. Okay, and here we can copy, go back and our Spring stuff. So I'll copy complete structure and then I'll paste it here. Okay. Okay, we have resource bundle, internal view resolver. Anything comes with webinf slash pages slash, and another thing I forgot earlier is if you don't mention this slash, right, what happens is webinf hyphen pages web welcome.jsp it will be. If you have a slash, then slash welcome.jsp it will go. You getting my point? So what you configure is very important. Okay. Next is again I can explain you what and all mistake that we did once this program works. Okay. So now Tomcat understand web.xml you configure dispatcher servlet will go to MVC dispatch servlet. Then from there it can understand all the resource bundles, internal view resolvers, and in your program you are configuring com bell info spring app MVC. That is the what com bell info or bell info com bell inf batch for MVC, right? Batch for that is also another problem. batch for dot MVC. Here that is another problem, I think. See, what is the name we have? Com bell info spring app MVC controller, right? But what we mentioned here, com bell info spring app MVC, that is also another problem. So you need to provide what package you need to scan. This package is nowhere there. The package name is com bell info spring app MVC controller, but you configured com bell info spring app MVC, right? To com bell info batch for MVC. Okay, package annotations we configured, annotation config we configured, and you don't need index.xml. Let's delete that. All does you need? Ideally you shouldn't. And then even if it is there, to no harm, I guess. I should have kept it. It's okay. Now here, what the file name that we decided? Welcome.jsp. In the welcome.jsp page, what we have? All we have is nothing, plain HTML page. Let's see if it understands at least, and then we'll see body. and then h1. This is welcome page, and below what we can do, we can get the attribute h1 dollar. Well, it's not enough to identify. Let's see, because I haven't configured anything, right? Let's see. Nothing harm, right? Welcome.jsp, and your welcome controller, welcome.jsp, but we decided we kept it in pages file, right? Pages folder. Let's create a pages. Inside X pages we have welcome.jsp. Let's build this guy. Clean install. Okay, finger crossed. Let me start this guy. What did I modify? Everything as is, right? Except batch for. Let's start this guy. Server started, so I'm going to add and restart. Okay, add or remove. Bell info MVC flow, and then restart again. Generally you don't need to do, but just I'm over cautious this time. Okay, nice. Bell info -MVC -flow, HTTP. -MVC -flow. Come on, yes, we did it. Okay, I'm a little skeptic, but yeah, we succeeded. That's good. So let me modify it and let's prove it. Right, last time after modifying only we get a little confused, right? So who is the one that suggested last time? Someone, client Srinivas or someone, right? Some suggestions you throw it, right? Good job, Srinivas. Okay. Basically, if you change GSP pages, right, you don't need to restart. Terrific, right? Nice. Now let me go back, explain you the problems, what and all the corrections before I join coming to the class, and what and all the fixed problems that we fix now. Okay, first thing, web.xml, you picked this web.app, you picked servlet supported configuration, but what you need, J2E supported configuration. J2E supported web app configuration is something that you need in order to work for Spring related stuff. Okay, so that is one time. Again, like I mentioned earlier, if would have been looked at here, that is like, it would have been saved some time for me. I copied directly from the program that we did earlier. The program that we did earlier is servlet program. So I copied servlet one, which is wrong. Okay. Second thing, load on startup. I think without doing this also it works. We can prove it. But it's always good to convey when you are writing dispatcher servlet. Okay. Next thing is whatever the name, servlet name that you gave here, right? You need to have the same kinds with the XML file, but -servlet.xml. -servlet is fixed. It's a static keyword. Whatever the servlet name, like if you say ABC here, it will become ABC-servlet.xml. Make sense? Okay. Next thing what we did is, in our pages earlier, we used to keep like this. What happens when you do like this? This is the prefix. So hello controller, it requests slash comes this slash, right? Whatever the slash that we had, this slash, sorry, this slash will be resolved to what? Resolved into this slash. And then as there is no additional URL mapping, it will come to this method. And then you did some blah blah blah. This is the sorry, let me yeah, this resolver, and this comes to here, and you provided welcome. This welcome will be go back to the as per our where is that? Yeah. So once you're done with your stuff, you return your model object. You return your model object, right? To whom? Front controller. Who is our front controller? Dispatcher servlet. So we return our model object by uploading, and we're returning welcome page view, what view it is, and its view template is nothing but view resolver's responsibility to take that model, understand the view, resolve the view, return it back to the front controller. So what will happen? It will go to MVC dispatcher, and then it will come to here. So this is the prefix /webinf/pages, and immediately welcome will be added. If it is like this, right, what will happen? I'm again writing here just to make clear you. So this is the prefix. What is the value? Welcome. What is the suffix? JSP. This is not pages welcome.jsp is our page. No. Pages is the folder. You need to convey slash as well. Make sense? So you need to be very cautious with these slashes. Okay. That is another mistake we did. What else we did? Yeah, that's it. I think if you go back to this program also, we can fix it the same by doing all the things. We can fix it. So that's not our goal. You guys understand what and all we did? So what is the flow? I'll repeat the flow. Remember the flow again. Okay. First thing what happens? Your server request comes. Here in our case slash. So it first what 8080 will be resolved to Tomcat server. Okay. After that, what is the project that you deployed? So it goes to the project. What is the URL? Here in our case only slash. Then it will go to web.xml will be loaded, and web.xml will be parsed by Tomcat. Tomcat will be in web.xml you have dispatcher servlet. Dispatcher servlet is the baby of front controller of Spring MVC. So now the controller went to Spring module. Spring dispatcher servlet responsibility is to send and control the request. So from here dispatcher servlet identifies slash belongs to welcome controller class because of @ request mapping that you have and @ controller you have. Okay. So from welcome controller, it looks for which method is proper one. Yes, this is the great and there is no URL mapping on top of method, so it resolved to that whatever the method that we wrote. So it enters inside with the modal map. So you will fill the modal map whatever the data that you want, and then you will return which is the page, what is the page name. You don't provide prefix and suffix. It's the view resolver responsibility. So it will go back to dispatcher servlet. Dispatcher servlet send it to view resolver class that you configured in your XML file. So view resolver identifies this welcome class. It appends the suffix and it appends the prefix with JSP and a suffix with webinf/pages, and then return it back. So when you're returning back, the data modal map also, modal object also carried all the way to back. So from Tomcat, so from Spring to Tomcat to request back to the browser. In browser, whatever the data that you kept in the model will be populated. Are you guys with me? Okay, nice. So I'm happy, at least a little excited. We resolve the problem. So we can write couple of methods just to see like what is the data, blah blah blah, right? Here what I will do, simply another controller I am writing. Okay, what I will do, request mapping and value equal to same. Request mapping takes multiple values, right? Value, here I'll say slash is already there, so test. Okay, and I still say get. Okay, and here hello world test. So whenever you do changes, right, it automatically trying to compile and deploy it. So you call it as print test. Okay, yeah, whenever you save it, it's coming. Here I'll keep it welcome, okay, for time being. Now I'll take another page. I'll write so just to see everything next to each other so that you guys can understand. I'll remove that commenting section and I'll take another method. I'll keep it here is other page or else other slash something else. Okay, I'll call this guy something else and print, I'll call it as something, some method. Okay, and this guy will say hello world something else, and I'll say another page, sorry, something page, something. Okay, something like that. Like so now I save this page to build again. So I need to call here another page called something. Here again in something else program I'll do some more modifications. Here you can add whatever the data, right? Model dot add attribute, new attribute. You can call it whatever it is. Okay, that's it. So you don't need to change MVC file, web.xml file. These are things one time when you set up the project. That's it, right? Something, and here you need to ask two file, two h1. So dollar message. What is the data that we wrote here? New attribute. Okay, let me run the program. So nice. So this is slash working fine. Next target is in our web controller test slash test. It should come hello world test, right? So let me try slash. Is it okay? You added this attribute, so it is there, and you are trying to add another attribute with the same message. Yeah, maybe I need to restart it. Let me take what is the another one? Slash test slash other slash something else, right? Hello world something else, blah blah. Oh, okay. Yeah, earlier one also coming correct. We just looked at it wrongly. See, hello world test, right? Hello world test. This is static data that is there. So this is hello world test when you say slash hello world Shiva. When I say slash other slash, I don't know what you call it, other slash something else, you will get hello world something else, blah blah, right? So each time based on the request that you get, it will get resolved to corresponding request mapping, and then it will return back to the corresponding JSP page. So we see only get calls, right? We see only get calls. I'll show you how to do post call as well, and then you need to take one good strong, big assignment. Okay, so what we can do, If let me write another class, I'll show you. You can do it here. Just thinking. Yeah, what is that? Let's start writing. When we start, things will fall into our line. I'll call it as student controller. Okay, nice. And then at the rate of request mapping, value is, if somebody says /student, okay, starts with /student, you need to come to this structure. Okay, and then another thing what you need to do, you need to use stereotype controller so that okay, then one get method I'm going to write public string get student model or model map, whichever one you want. Okay, and then here also what you need to do, request mapping, but value is nothing, you don't need to mention anything, or else you can say value equal to blah blah, it doesn't matter. And request method dot get and then what I will do here is student equal to, I'll create a new student object. Okay, student class I need to create, right? So these are the MVC and package dot model. Inside model class what we need, class student, simple Pojo class. In student thing what we're going to do, simply we'll ask private string, it simply will take name. Okay, nothing more than that, so that you don't need to write so much unnecessary logic. And you need to have setters and getters. We know how to get the setters and getters. And write some, you don't need to write, but just get a generator string. Okay, now you got student here, and you go back to the student class. Did you see that? And you can create one more package just to move certain structure. Okay, controller you never use capital letter in the package. If you use them, people will know who you are. Okay, I heard you. I'll just go back and I'll move that. Just let me finish on this. In this student controller, what I will do, model dot add attribute. There are a bunch of options. I'm just showing you the one option. You can experiment, go back and okay. So I'll just say student, and then I'm passing student object. Okay. And then what you need to do, you return, I'll say return something like, if somebody calls student, then I'll say return student login, something like that. Okay. I'll create a JSP page, right? Okay, this is the get, right? Okay, I'm going to write another method called, I'll explain, don't worry what I'm doing. So basically, if you, by looking at this method, you can understand, right? If somebody comes with slash student, it is going to go here, and then you're going to return student login.jsp, which we're going to return. Okay, then string student details. Okay, here basically what I'm trying, let me tell you. So somebody slash student, you will say, you will take him to the login page, student login page, where you have a text box. In the text box, he will enter his name and he will submit. What I will do, I will take him into the new page, some other page, saying, hey, welcome, whatever the name entered, welcome blah blah blah, welcome Srinivas, welcome Santosh, welcome Raj, kind of thing. Okay, whatever they enter, we'll reply back saying, we got your request and I know what you, with what name you came back, and I am returning back the same data. So which, with that, you get to know how the data has been controlled between the systems. Okay, just keep that in mind and I'll show you. So this time, this is the post method. So first thing, how do you distinguish post method? At the rate request mapping method equal to request method dot post. There are few things I'll explain, but let me write it. Okay, what happens student, okay, and then model. Okay, let me see if I can succeed. I'll explain model, and then here you can say model dot add attribute message. What is the value, right? So hey, something like welcome. What is the name, whatever the student entered. This is the post method. Post method is something student is entering the data, that data, right? So that captured into student model object. So student dot get name. Okay, this is what I'm keeping in the model object, response model object, and then I'm going to return success. Return success. The return success is double quotes. And what is the problem with this guy? Yeah. So I need to convey here at the rate. This is the model attribute. Actually, I didn't save the student. That's the reason you're getting here. Okay. So we have a get method. We have a post method. Okay. So we don't need to change anything XML file. We don't need to change web.xml file or a servlet.xml file. All we need to write is two JSP files. One is student-login. Another one is success. So student-login, one JSP file, and another class is success. Okay, nice. Here now the data. As of now, we haven't sent any data, right? Here we haven't sent any data from client side to backend system, right? So now we are going to send the data. Now we're going to send the data. So some tags here, some tags. Earlier we have a JSP tags, right? Same thing, we need Spring tags. I'll do whatever the tags that are necessary, but you go back and look what and all the different tags that has been available. Basically, what if you use certain tags, then it will understand by what you called it will be understand by Spring. So in order to understand Spring that you are using Spring tags, you need to convey in your configuration in your JSP files. Same way, where is the tags? They are not configured anywhere. I should have GST. Let me see. GST. Let me search. STL. Slash tags, right? That is the best one to look at it. Slash tags. Slash tags. Okay, we have this. In web.xml, Spring Servlet, dependencies. Yeah, this is the tag libraries. You need to copy paste as is. Okay, for time being. So search demo. Okay, sorry. You can leave this guy as is. Let him leave his life. And we copy these three tags. Okay. We copied these three tags so that you got prefix form tag and JSTL core tag with C Spring tags. Okay. There are a bunch of tags, but these are the necessary to write. These are the basic ones that you can. Student login, something like that. Okay. Here, let's raise the division proc HTML tags. Okay. I'll say student page, something like that. And then here we're going to use this form tag. Okay, this form tag, highlighted one. Form inside we're going to write all the logic, blah blah logic. So what is the action that you're going to do? First thing, right? Action equal to slash student. Method is post. And model attribute. Model attribute is student. Okay. Then what? Enter student name. Something's text. Student name. Form. Input. Path equal to name. And we'll take another div. We'll say in the div is not required. Huh? Let's try form. I think we don't need. We're just submitting, right? Why do you need a form? Simply for submitting. Button. Button name is like submit. And you need to convey type to Spring. That button is type submit. Submit of type. Okay. This part, don't worry too much as you are a Java developer. Very less chance to work on UI side, but still you use Java Spring tags. So basically, I'll explain. Somebody says slash student. Where am I writing this? All the piece. I need to write where? Did you corrected me? I need to write in student login. Agreed? So basically what happens? Somebody says slash student, right? When somebody says slash student, then it will go to the get method. This get method, what it is returning? It is saying go to student-login page with modal attribute as student. With modal attribute as student. Empty modal attribute. This is just you created a modal attribute with the student object and kept it in modal, and then you are saying go to student-login. So now you go to student-login. In this student-login we have a student name, form, input, path, name, and button, type, submit. Okay, so this name whatever you add will be, if I say blah blah blah, that blah 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 name will be set into the student. This student, see, focus, okay, this student object, okay, are same. So you sent empty student object, student login object, whatever you enter and submit. When you submit it, this name will be assigned it to, this name value will be updated into this modal attribute, and it will go to slash student again, but this time what it is? Post method. So what will happen? It will go here, post method. Now the same student object here with the name that you provided. Agreed? With the name that you provided. And then what you're going to do, you updating another new model object of this student, and then you are adding whatever the student object that you entered, and then you're going back to success page. In success page, what you need to do? You need to display that name. You need to display that name. That's it, right? In student, in success page, what you need to do? All you need to do is just display the message that you entered. So that's what it's gonna happen. All I'm going to do is $tuck, tuck, message. Yeah, we'll see one more time. I'll explain as many times as you guys want. I don't mind doing it. We don't need tags, right? We are not using anything. Okay. Did we missed anything? Success SUCCESS student-login. SUCCESS success student-login. Does. Let's hope we are succeed. First thing is stop the server, restart the server. Okay, so now if we say slash student page, student name, text area, submit. Student page is static. Student page is whatever you wrote, and student name also whatever you wrote. The text area has been appeared here because of this form input tag. This is the value for this form, and that whatever you enter, that will be assigned it to this name value, and this name value will be inserted into the student object. Make sense? And then this is the submit XYZ. Okay, let me say submit XYZ. And how does it button appeared? Because of you are saying this is a button type submit. When you submit, when you click on this, the value will be assigned to name, and name will be entered to student, and it is going to slash student action, and it is a method of type post. Okay, so let's see what it didn't went, you got an error. So your request has been not reached to slash student, your controller, student controller. Another interesting problem that we got. Let's resolve. Request method post controller. Why it doesn't reach here? Does it reach here at least? If it is reached, is it because of the tags? I don't think so. What I will do, I'll just pick the tags and see. It shouldn't actually. We can remove complete tag. Shoot. Oh, I removed complete tags. Actually, we need at least 5 tag content type. You need to convey this tag. What kind of data? This could be very easy. And tag HTML tag also gone. And you keep this data. Page language. I don't need this shit. Page content type text by HTML character set. You can say UTF-8 as well. You can say whatever it is. Character set doesn't matter actually. Okay, at least for our case. When you are using any special treatment, special characters, then that would be. I think it went to slash student, but it should go to Berlin MVC flow. Okay, think I got it. Student. Okay. When you submit, I think I got it. In student login, you are saying /student, right? I want to add a relative path here because what is happening, right? Ideally, it's supposed to be, it should be MVC flow /student, it should be, right? It should be when you submit, right? It should go balance for MVC flow /student. Oh, damn. How do I identify the relative path? I think I kind of encountered this problem earlier. Let me see. Action URL. What do you call the relative URL? Yeah. He is using account. I don't want to use it. Yeah, this is the one. This is dynamically identifies page context, request, context path. Yeah. That's what, right? Page context request dot context path. Okay. So basically what happens, right? Now what happens is like this is project name. I'll explain if it works rather than speculating, right? See, this one is still holding here. This one is still holding here project name because this page context. Otherwise what happens is if I remove that, so that's the reason, hi, welcome SAS. If I remove this guy, okay, if I remove this guy, what happens is, now see, I'll refresh, this is the get method, I'll say blah, blah. Now the project name gone, the project name has been gone, right? So you couldn't identify, that's the reason you need to send context path. Okay, so at least now try to understand. I'll explain the flow. Okay, MVC and first /student. Okay, this page has been showed up. What exactly happened when you see /student? It identified here /student and it's a get method. Get method, you just dummy student object you created, empty student object, and you add it into the model attribute. Model object is the one that carries to and fro data. Okay, and then you return student-login.jsp. This student-login.jsp, what we have inside? Form tag, student page, blah blah blah, and student input. When you submit it, this name will be assigned to the student empty student object. So now the student object is carrying this name all the way to the backend, and the method is post, and the location is, the URL is project name / student. So now it goes back. So the method is post and the / student. This student object has been identified here. Make sense? And this you added into message and return success page. So now it goes back to success page. When I enter these things, it goes to success page and it displays success page. These are all redirections. Don't look why it is success page is not showing, student login is not showing. Those are all redirections that Spring will do. Okay, agreed? Okay, so there is some more logic I will explain you before I conclude. So there are some validations. Did you guys observe when you guys doing, when you're writing some programs, right? There will be some validations. Like if somebody enter wrong name or something, like if we enter more than 5 characters or the size of the name is like too much, it says, hey, something wrong, please enter limited number, kind of thing, right? How do you do that validations, right? So I'll show it to you. Two things you need to do for that. Okay, two things you need to do for validations. Like, let's say if somebody want to enter name, they should enter at least 4 letters before submitting. If they enter less than 4 letters, you can show an error. If they enter more than 15 letters, you need to show an error. Is it for everybody? Can somebody confirm? Nobody can't able to hear? Hello? Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm anyways recording. You whoever can't hear, just go back and yeah, definitely I'll upload today because yeah. Okay, cool. Thanks. So validations, right? If somebody enters some characters like name, right? We are trying about name. So all the validations will be on the data that user enters, right? All the validations will be around the data that user enters, right? So my request here is like, what I will say, if somebody doesn't, without entering anything, like, without entering anything, if somebody submits, now I'm getting success. But what my goal is, if somebody try to submit without entering, I want to show an error. If somebody enter less than 4 letter character, I want to show an error. If somebody try to enter more than 15 characters, I want to show an error. Only if somebody enters 4 to 15 characters, then only I'll take him to success page. This is my criteria, right? How do you do the validations? So here, what you called, there are 2 different validations. Hibernate provides certain validations and Java X also provides certain validations. So we will try to do, okay, at the rate not null. Let me see that validation. Yeah, constraint. So what does it mean? The value should not be null. It's all Java X validations responsibility whether the value is there null or not. Okay, and then another constraint what you have. So all things happens with the annotations. Okay, at the rate size. What is your criteria? Minimum is 4, maximum is 15. So you may have one doubt now. So how do I know all these things? All you need to do what? Go back here. We have a Google Java X validations annotations. See, at the rate max, all the elements are the size, list, pattern, null list. These are all the validations that has been provided by JavaX validations. Hibernate also provides. We haven't discussed about Hibernate, so I don't want to get into those details now. But so for now, like let's use like, so if it is at the rate null, we don't need it fails you. If there is at the rate size, it fails you on the server side. Okay, how does the communication happens, like how does, so these are, now you identified, okay, somebody sent a null, so in your, with this validation you identified, how do you get to know whether the errors are there or not, and what you need to do if there is errors. If there is no errors, what you need to do. If there are errors, what you need to do, right? That is the another condition comes into picture, right, on server side. So what you need to do here, you need to add another validation at the rate valid. So what does it mean? What does it mean? If the data entered by student is valid, when you say at the rate valid, it will go back and check these validations. Okay. Okay. So now with this keyword, this student object is going to get validated with the constraints that we added. Nice. Now, how do you, if there are errors, who is going to communicate to me? Spring somehow I need to communicate to me there are errors, right? Okay, so at the rate valid, what it does, it went to student and checks the constraints that you defined at the rate not null, at the rate max, at the rate minimum. So somebody enters null, so Spring identified there are some errors, but Spring has to communicate to the developer, to me, saying that there are some errors through some way, so that I can check that if there are errors, I will act one direction. If there are no errors, I will act in different direction, right? So where the results will go is here, binding results. Binding result. This is another class that Spring is having. Validations results. So this student object will get validated as soon as it sees at the rate valid. What validations it happens? Whatever the constraints that you defined. So here you defined 3 constraints. So once that constraints, if any of the constraint is failed, that failed constraint related result will be identified in this binding result. So now you got the result object. So what you can do here, if result dot has errors, if there is any errors in the result, what I will say, stay in the return, don't go to success page, stay in the same page. Okay, that's what I communicated here. Stay in the same page. If there is no errors, it doesn't go in enter, it will go to success page. Make sense? So if there is any errors, if as soon as it sees valid, whatever the modal attribute that you have, that modal attribute validations, constraint checks, it will check. If you don't define these, and if you had a valid, nothing will happen because you haven't added any constraints around. So first you need to communicate your Spring that I need validations. So using this at the rate valid. Once you get to know validations are there, you need to convey what kind of validations. So with these constraints you conveyed, and then once those validations happened, Spring somewhere it need to capture those results, right? If there is no validations errors, then it should say there is no validation errors. If there is any errors, it should say there are some errors. So those results will be captured in binding result. That result, once it provided to you, so you can check result dot has errors. Then should go, if there is any error, stay in the same page. If there is no errors, go to the success page. Make sense? Nice. So the next thing is this binding result. Remember, binding result should be always next to modal attribute. Whatever the attribute that you want to do validations, This result should be next to it. If you keep model, this model, another model object in between, it doesn't work. If you try to keep this one in between here, it doesn't work. Okay, keep that in mind. So okay, now somehow you get to know errors are there and you staying on the same page, but you want to display that error to the client, right? Whoever entering. So you want to communicate to them. In order to communicate to him, you need to have certain tags. What you called Spring provides you some tags. I can say like that. Okay, what error? So in between, you need to show something like this, right? Div, this HTML tag. I no need to explain. This is the form errors. You need to say path, same path, whatever the path, which field is having errors, right? Name and CSS. I just show this is CSS, nothing to do with what you call color colon, I'll say red. Okay, so if something wrong, it backend will validates and it will let you know back when if it is there is some errors, it will communicating back to you. Stay on the same page. While staying on the page, if there are any errors, so this binding result will be communicated here. Okay, form errors and binding result internally communicates. Okay, on this field show red. Okay, agreed. Okay, let's see what is that. By seeing the results you will understand better. Okay, without submitting, what I'll do, I'll try to submit. Okay, you got an error. Size must be between 4 and 15. Where is that message, right? Size must be between 4 and 15. In the student, whatever you define, this is the constraint will be generated automatically. This constraint will be generated automatically. Okay. If you want to provide your own message, I will show you. Okay. So I'll say now it will go. Okay. Now if I say more than 15, right? Size must be between 4 and 15. Make sense? Cool. Did I supposed to cover anything? Did I miss something? Did I miss something? Yeah. And another interesting part, right? If you want to write your own custom messages, what you need to do is write a property file. Where is the file? Why there is no file? Messages, that's what we configured, right? Properties, messages.properties. Okay, inside resources folder. Where did we configure messages.properties? If you go back to, if you remember, this is resource bundle. Base name is messages, messages, messages.properties. This will be identified. Okay, so you can define here using the key size dot student. This size will be mapped to your whatever the condition that you have. Student is your object name dot field name equal to you can say name should be minimum of first character 1 and maximum of $2. Okay, I'll show you, don't worry, I'll explain. Not null dot student dot name equal to blank data doesn't accept is provide. Okay, so not null, when validation failed with not null on student object with name on the attribute name, then show this message. This one is when the student object validations failed on name attribute on in terms of size related, then name should be minimum of display whatever the value and maximum of whatever the value. 1 and 2 will be nothing but 4 and 15. 1 and 2, 1 is the value picks from here 1 and 15 is picks from here. Make sense? So now let me save. So now you will get those messages back, I believe. Name should be minimum of 15 and maximum of 4. Getting my point? Nice. So if I modify this guy, got it? If I say this, plus got it? So getting my point? So I showed you how the data goes from the client to backend system, and I showed you how data comes from the backend system to client. Now you can do one thing, right? You can integrate this program with the JDBC. We haven't discussed Hibernate, but you can integrate with JDBC, right? All you need to do is copy paste all your JDBC classes, paste it here, okay, and connect between your student controller class. Here you just returning, right? Instead of that, what you can do, once you get the student name, go back and save in the database, and if it fails, show the failure. If it is success, show the success. And along with that, I want you to add in this page, student now name is there, right? I want to add student course. Student course should be like drop down. Okay, my request is student course should be drop down. Go back and look, you can find bunch of options how to do a drop down and HTML page and how to pick the value of selected value from the drop down kind of things. Okay, next thing, so I will write it down. Okay, same program, assignment is student program which takes, okay, which takes name, course, course is drop down and provide 4 to 5 course options in the drop down like Java, .NET, DevOps, Scala, Node.js, whatever it. Okay, name, course, and what you call fee, and past something like a year. Okay, these 4 fields, along with these 4 fields, these 4 fields should show up, And then internally in the student object you need to add a date also. When they created the, you need to have the date also in the database. Okay, these 1 2 3 4 5 fields should be there in your database by taking from the client. Okay, date is dynamically, without asking client, you can select, you can take the now time, like what is the time currently, and pick the date and store it in the database. Okay, so take these values, student program input is these values, and write validations. Okay, input and validations. What are the validations? Yeah, name, minimum, min and max, 4 and 15, comma, course must be selected, if not validation failure, fee should be greater than $100, and year should be greater than current year. Okay, now once the validations has been success, to go all the way to database and save it and show success page with all the information, that client provided, that information that user provided, like name and whatever the data that you provided, you just show it success page showing I stored these data, something like that. Okay, then if the same user try to enter once again with the same name and with the same name, then show him an error saying that we have your record. So I need you guys to finish this program and submit it by, what is today? Tomorrow I'm not taking class because sorry, I have personal thing. 25th I'm going to take a class around evening, so by evening submit it. See, to some extent I can monitor. After that it's all your responsibility to, it's purely your responsibility. You came all the way to US, right? So, and you are learning every day, you are joining, right? It's not time pass. So I need all these conditions related Spring MVC program by connecting to the JDBC logic that we have, and the last line logic, what you can do is, like, using the database, you will verify in the database whether he is there or not. If he is there, you will show the error, otherwise you will save it, right? So finish it and get back to me. Today night I'll upload both program as well as recording session. Okay, for sure. If I don't upload, you don't need to do the session. I mean, you don't need to do assignment. Okay.